Welcome to the ZeroInOnUnite podcast, where we keep the energy high and the molding low. All right, trainers, time to take a break from Dunk and Aos and zero in with your host, Zero.
Welcome in, trainers one and all. Hello, it is me. My name is ZeroInOn Alex, and welcome back to another episode of the ZeroInOnUnite podcast. And today we have a very special guest, one of my favorite people to talk to, especially at live events. I have pictures with him in the video. If you're watching this live, you won't see it, but if you're watching this on YouTube, which, by the way, really quick, ZeroInOnUnite is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. So it is available, and I'm sure I'll throw up a picture of the many times I have met Adesu. But yes, we have the pro player, the man, the myth, the legend, Adesu. How are you, my brother?
Thank you so much for having me here.
I mean, I'm
happy.
Happy, right? But for those of you who don't know which I can't believe there would exist anybody that doesn't know who you are, feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself, Adesu, how you started playing Pokemon Unite, and how did you get to be not only really good, but how did you become a pro player?
So yeah, I mean, everybody started in other MOBAs for sure. I mean, playing video games from a very early age helps a lot to build the skills, to build the knowledge about how to be like effective in a game. No, it has to be like how to take advantages of what the game is letting you. So yeah, I mean, I decided to become a pro player on Unite because of an opportunity that I had. I mean, at the beginning, I was only playing with people from my country, let's say, but every time I played with a different stack, I was feeling like I was getting better and better. And I was lucky because after all, everywhere you go, you have to be lucky. And I met with wonderful people that with their help, we could feedback each other and until the point we are right now. So it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Training over all the years on age, experience, luck, effort.
Right, that makes sense. I mean, again, you are definitely a household name even here in North America, you know, especially on the time that you had with NOUNS Esports in the past, you know, year one making it to the final round, and NOUNS Esports just tends to be a household name no matter where you go, and you guys have made such great waves. And I know this past year you did play a lot more support roles. So I know we've seen you in the past play like different roles, but why support this past year, and what type of player would you consider yourself to be?
Well, I mean, first of all, first I'm gonna respond first what the player I think of myself, and I would say like I'm a flexible one, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I mean, you will see me like playing bot lane, playing top side.
Yeah.
I jungle in the first season, right, with Dragonite. Like,
I remember that.
yeah. So I'm not really rooting to one role because maybe that doesn't sound like very competitive from my side, but I find it boring. Let's say that to do the same thing over and over.
Right.
Especially when the game changes, you want to change with it. You want to innovate, you want to explore ideas, you want to...
Right.
Yeah. Try different things. Of course, there's things that are optimal no matter how creative you are.
Right.
But once you know what the optimal is, like what is letting you down to try new stuff, right? So yeah. And yeah, support was more for a need than an option. So the roster I was invited to has the need of a support player and a flexible one. I've decided it could be a good opportunity to explore the role, and I felt like with the energy and will to do it, so why not? It's not like something I was really looking into. It's more like an opportunity that came. I just grab it because I found it interesting, let's say.
I like that because I know personally I've seen you play things like Sylveon. I know you and I both love Sylveon. Again, for people who are watching this, I have a couple Sylveon plushies in the background. Oh, they're over here. And so, but I've seen you play. I know I see the sleeping one on yours. I know you've played things like Sylveon, Attacker. Has there been any role that you've liked more than others? or were you, because again, I think it's so valuable to have a player to complex. And I think you said the most important thing. With the game always changing, you want to be able to adapt. You don't want to just pigeonhole yourself and like, oh, well, I can only play tanks, you know? So going back to what I was saying, is there any role that you liked more or less?
Not really. I think there's characters I like more than others. In the end, how I see the game and how you see the characters, you feel like the role that this game gives to the characters, like defender, speedster, it's not really that, right? Because in between the speedsters, you will see like the characters have different roles in game. Like, I mean, the speedster probably is the worst example. When you go, for example, into defenders, you will see that there's defenders that have less damage, the ones that are more tanky, others that are more annoying, like Griden. So it feels like even if they share the same role in the game, which is defender,
air quotes here,
the role in the role when you are playing then is completely different from one another. So yeah, I'm more like I like these characters in particular. For example, the attackers, you have long range like Decidueye or Inteleon, and you have other like more assassin style like Greninja, right? Both are attackers, but the role in the game it's completely different. With one you want to be like super position and back, and the other one you want to look for the enemy threat. Like
that's true. That's actually very true. So it's more or less you like certain characters in Pokemon than you do like role, and that's what makes you so flexible. Because I know for a fact one of the first things I remember you for is Decidueye, because I was like, oh, his Decidueye is coming out. Everybody run for the hills. He will snipe you. I've seen you in like tournaments like Protect the President and all these other things that like even in competitive play we would see like Nouns Esports at the time. I think it was like maybe year one. It's like, oh, he's bringing out the Decidueye. Everybody watch out. And on the topic of Nouns Esports, you have made it again a household name across the world. Everybody knows who Nouns Esports is at one way, shape, or another. What has been one of your favorite moments, not even necessarily with Nouns, but on the grand stage, you know, in a high competitive level? Can you recall one? And if you have more than one, feel free to share, but one of your like, damn, that was a great memory.
You mean for me, right? Like something we did as a team.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. When I have to answer this question, because for example in the forms that the users left to us, they ask question as well. I always have in mind the same moment, which is like, maybe I'm too old. Well, what can I say? But I like to recall the season 1 when we were in World Championship, the Dragonite play I have to against T2.
Yeah.
It was more than the play, was the outcome of the play, let's say. What you can see in the play is like, okay, yeah, I got some beans, I got a couple of kills, and I went to flip. But the reality comes afterwards. It was like in a situation of despair where we were like almost losing the game.
Right.
We were able to overcome that feeling of despair, have the sub, somehow win the game. But the beautiful thing came right after, where there was despair, now was hope. Right. So this is what I recall from that play, and that's why I have it always in my mind is, okay, there's opportunities in which you are able to change the whole feelings of your own team and the people, and that's really beautiful. I think that's probably what you want to see as a spectator when you're watching esports, and what you want to feel as a player as well. So yeah, definitely that one. And if there's another one,
I can tell you, I remember that because I didn't start traveling to events until I think 2023 NAIC, I think, was my first ever event. Since then, I've gone to every single NAIC. I know I didn't go to Worlds that year, but the past 2 years, 2024 Worlds and 2025, I went to both Worlds and NAIC and saw Adesu. You know, I'm just saying, bragging rights. But yeah, that's definitely a memory. I remember being up late here at home watching that play and just being like, man, they're amazing. So again, if you can't recall another one, it's okay. But do you remember anything else? If not, it's okay.
I mean, it always comes to this one I explained to my mind, but there is something else. I would say there's one Eldegos play that was kind of similar, like from a moment of despair, where we did the biggest most terrible fight we could do as a team against one beautiful town from Latin North. It was called I think it was called, how they work. I think it was E7.
Okay. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I was all alone as an Eldegoss, and I have to last hit the Rayquaza, or the game was lost, and it happened. What can I say? It happened. I mean, that time, more than trying to outplay or have, I tried to have luck, honestly.
Right.
I just tried my luck, and it worked. And okay, we were lucky, but we didn't win the game yet. I stole the Rayquaza, okay, but that wasn't enough.
It gave you hope, though.
Yeah, it gave me hope. Yeah, we were starting to do fine plays to have some points, and yeah, suddenly that random steal I took became in a win in the UIC. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the
crazy, honestly.
I will say, as like a caster and also just a viewer, watching a support player or a support Pokemon get the secure on now, obviously, right now when we're recording this, Groudon. But before then, on Rayquaza was just it's always the most exciting thing. Especially like, you know, we've seen things with Boosted Blissey or Egg Bomb Blissey, Eldegoss Ult or Eldegoss Pollen Puff or Eldegoss Auto. Like, there's so many things with supports, and I think it makes them so interesting to play in the meta. But, you know, as we're talking again a little bit about supports leading into that, like I said, we know that you are an amazing flex player, and you had the opportunity last year to play support because that's what the team needed, right? So how would you describe the job of, and I'm using these air quotes, a job of a support in Pokemon Unite? Because yes, they're really good, you know, at healing, but some Pokemon don't necessarily have to heal. Look at things like Latias or Mr. Mime. It's not necessarily the healer. Sableye that doesn't heal. And this is what you were talking about earlier, how, well, it's under the support role, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna heal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I think you are completely right. And I like to try to use one word to describe all you said, and it's like a need. Like your team needs a need, and the support role is the one that is looking for covering those needs. What is the need of my team? An engager, someone that scores points, Sableye. Well, my support needs healing because the enemy team has a lot of poke. They have Inteleon. Okay, we need a healer maybe because otherwise we're gonna get really low. We can pick Blissey. Or team needs suddenly something that can protect us from speedsters. Maybe we can play Umbreon. Maybe we can play Slowbro, right? So in general, the role, more than just for healing, like you said, or shields, is looking for needs. Maybe my top laner needs to scale, so I need to pick a good early game character like Koopa to help my top lane to scale. That's a need as well. I need someone that is strong to help me at that time. Maybe I need to delay the enemy jungle. The need of delay him so my team can scale. I can invade with Hoopa or Snorlax. Right. Yeah. So that's why I really like so much this word of the need. And the support is always looking for needs of the team. Right. Vision, information, action, whatever.
I think that's beautiful, though, because it goes back to what you said at the start of the show. It is just because it's under the role of support doesn't necessarily mean another Pokemon that's like a defender can't play that. The need. It is to fill the need of a team.
We need damage.
That's true, right? Like, you know, it really does boil down to the need. And I think that is probably one of the best ways you could describe support. But in that support umbrella, as like now I'm going to call it, how does, like, especially because, again, last year, again, you were the support for NOUNS Esports. Like, do you read the map a little differently, or are you more careful about who you go with, or kind of bring me into the mentality that you had as a support player last year?
Well, that's actually hard. I mean, mostly when I played the games, I was like looking, especially to not mess up really much, not gonna lie. But after that, I was basically trying to to scale my characters, try to not lose the early game because it was really important at that time to not lose the early game because the enemy could stack really easily on your base, and there was a lot of characters that could stack. So you basically didn't want to die in lane, you didn't want to get ganked in a very bad position. So it was more like a very careful playstyle. Now it's a bit more different because the top lane changed, the minions in top lane changed, and there's more HP in top lane. So even if you get ganked and if you can't take that HP, you can get back into the game. But yeah, so mostly I was like looking to not be like they say the hole in my team where the enemies could like take a lead. But after the early game happens, it's more like, where do I need to be?
Right.
Like thinking about that ahead of time, I think is the clear answer for the support. You always need to like, where is the enemy going?
Right.
Okay, so the enemy is going, where do I have to stay? Where do I have to be? Maybe I'm Hoop, maybe I want to be on the other side. Maybe I'm Suicune. I want to be ahead of them, so I want to hide in a bus. So when they fate check me, surprise. Or maybe I'm just Sable and I want to, okay, they go this way, I'm going to this way, I'm going to score. So if you are able to more or less understand what the enemy wants to do, it's going to be way easier for you where you have. So I was trying to think that way. Sometimes I wasn't successful, not gonna lie. It's not easy at all.
Of course, you know.
But if you don't have a plan in mind, you are not gonna move.
Right.
So even if you are wrong, I guess you have to try.
You have to at least try, right? You have to try something there. And really quick, before we continue the conversation, I mean, again, for those of you who are listening right now, you're missing out on the live show. But I do want to take the time to read some of the people of what they have said in chat. Because again, once again, Unite_Academy. We do have Ribbon Chew saying, personally, my favorite time watching Unite was watching Adesu play and carry on Sylveon with double glasses and focus band in a world where Buddy Barrier was the most busted thing in the game. It was the same exact build I was using, knowing piss nothing about the game, so I might be a little biased. I mean, Ribbon, I think she put it best, Adesu, that, you know, Sylveon, it can work and it can do well, and I know you have played it quite well, right?
Please give us the old hyper voice. Thank you.
I know, the one where it was like more of a like a cone, right? It was like narrow, more.
Yeah, now it was like.
Yeah, because now it's like super wide, and now it's like, no, give me the old hyper voice.
Yeah, but the problem is, okay, they made it wider, which is like really cool, honestly, don't get me wrong. But they decreased the damage of the ability like at 20-something%.
Gotcha.
While doing it. So, okay, your damage is more spread because it's easier to hit. But what was cool for hyper voice is like punishing an enemy mistake with an ability that does a lot of damage. But you have to aim it well.
Yeah. I mean,
so now, okay, I think it lost its identity though.
Yeah, which is sad. So it'd be nice if they changed it back, but so far it doesn't look like they were. But something that you said in that, I think, kind of sparks my next question, going back to the topic of like you being on Nouns for support and whatnot. Like, because you fitted the need that Nouns needed, you played a lot of support, and like you said, okay, like it's time to learn some things in this role. What are some mistakes that you made, or what are some mistakes that you see other players commonly make as support?
Cons. Like, honestly, the only way of learning is making mistakes, so don't be afraid of making mistakes.
That's a great
way. But not only in the game, in life as well. I don't want to do mistakes. So yeah. Now, talking about what I did wrong, holy, I died a lot of times. Yeah, you have to limit this, especially in early. And honestly, I was like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm support. I don't mind if I die because I'm not the most important thing in the top side. No, that's not true. You are really important. If you get down in the top lane, like if they get you, probably your top lane is gonna have a bad time. First, you're gonna give some HP. Okay, it's not very valuable because it's early game, but the enemy is gonna be ahead, let's say on the top side, while you are not there, your other top lane is, your own top lane is gonna lose minions against it, or it's gonna have less probabilities of getting them. So yeah, at the beginning I was like dying too much, looking for stacks, looking to be annoying, like thinking my life was not really valuable. Oh my god, I don't know why I said that other way, but yeah. And the more I played, the more I saw the bad outcomes out of it, and I was like, okay, maybe we need to have a better fundamentals. And now you have to apply this mentality to not only in early game, in mid game. For example, in mid game I was like more staying in one lane, like more like expecting to other person like saying or do what they want. And the more I play, I felt like, okay, maybe this is not what I want, because maybe I'm late, or maybe I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting down here. So I try to be a bit more active over the games. What I was doing back in the top side, where I was doing those mistakes and trying to figure out what was going to do better. For the mid game, it came again about making good predictions. So when I was making bad predictions, it was feeling really bad. But it wasn't taking me down to try again. So because when I was right, it felt helpful, let's say. For example, if I could spot the enemy going in as a 5-man into a push from a really early position, like very ahead of the map, that gets my team that at least 8 seconds time to react. So just spotting them will make like the big difference on the defense.
Yeah.
Difference on the defense.
That was like a difference on the defense.
Difference on the defense.
Yeah.
And yeah, for late game, what I used to do is like react to what's happening, and where I went better was in where do I want to spend my resources. As a Breezy, for example, like you have to find your target and your situation where you want to react. Sometimes it never happened, but it is nice to have it, because the worst outcome if your situation is not happening is reacting with what I was doing before.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's beautiful, because you're right. Like, as a support player, like, you have to, I almost think as a support player, you have to kind of like omega giga brain it, right? Because you have to be like, okay, what's the situation? Okay, my carry is in danger. Maybe I'm Blissey as safeguard. I need to make, like, the rest of my team is already escaping, but now I see my, I don't know, Zorark is like in danger, and oh, they're gonna get hit with Sequin Freeze. I'm gonna use my safeguard on them to try to get them out of there, out of danger. And obviously that's just one example and like a very small minimal answer, but that kind of led a little bit into my next question, is like, as that being that support player, like, how do you prioritize in that sense? Like, peel for carries, engaging, enabling plays, like, how do you pick that apart, and how do you prioritize in a game? Like, is it more you prioritize your carries, your maybe your defender? And I know it's a very like, well, it depends answer, but I just kind of want to pick your brain, as you were a big support player for Nouns last year. Well, how did you prioritize certain situations?
It's so hard, honestly. I feel like it comes from an identity you have as a player. If you are more protective, you will feel more safe and more comfortable at protecting maybe a main carry. And you will see other people that are playing more aggressive. For example, there's people that do more damage on Hoopa, while there's other people that like do better portals. Why? Because they are focusing their attention in what they are better at.
Right.
So I think it came with the identity of every player, and I don't think that there's a playstyle that is better than other. Again, it will come to the need your team has at that moment. So maybe your playstyle fits better for that need or not. As far as the player identifies well how to perform in every situation, that's fine. So now, yeah, I think that's how I can respond this question. I'm not sure if it's something I did, because I was being told like a lot of times, not gonna lie,
right,
that I was playing a bit over aggressive. So I was more in the identity of aggressive player, like. I was using a lot of my buttons, trying to deny portals, with Blissey and stuff. Yeah, using Phantom Force aggressively instead of defensively, which led me into a very awkward situation sometimes, because I was getting punished because of that. But at the same time, I was like being more annoying for the enemy team while doing that. Is that exactly what my team needed? Most of the times it wasn't, so it was a bit kind of troll.
Right.
And I was not identifying it well. But the thing you guys have to to keep something in mind is not to do that. And even if your identity says a thing like, oh, I have to press this button to damage, maybe your team needs exactly the opposite. Maybe you need to play safe and put portals for the defenders, please.
Right. I mean, I think you talked about it a second ago, like when we were talking about seeing mistakes in other players and yourself. But one part that I wanted to touch on again is the fact that you said that doing those mistakes is how you learn. So, and again, now I'm just speaking to the wide audience. How do you take a mistake and learn from it? Because I'm asking this because I feel like a lot of times players will make the mistake and then they keep making the same mistake. So how can you turn a negative into a positive?
It's a really good question, and it's probably one of the hardest parts, not in Unite, but in every competitive game. You need to be, first of all, you need a lot to be autocritic, like self-critic, is it?
Yeah, you have to be critical and self-critical to yourself.
Self-critical, yeah, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. You need to be super self-critical, and most of the times, the moment it happened, like a lot of people will look for an excuse, something that is not. Yeah, because
it wasn't my fault. It was the controller's fault.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes it could be other people's faults, but I like to think and recommend to change the mentality of the people. Like, even if something doesn't feel like it's my fault, first focus on what you could do better. Even if you are not doing the biggest mistake in the situation, you probably could do something better. So thinking this way, instead of projecting into the others, you would project first into yourself and then look what the others did. However, and now responding the question, which is like, how can people like really learn from their mistakes, is not watching you, not trying to be very critical with you at that moment, at that same moment, for the reasons I just said. But you could record yourself and then without context, watch any other day, what you did. You'll be super critical with yourself because you'll miss the context and you could see like raw gameplay without, the context of what you were thinking at that moment of the game. Maybe you do remember, but you don't have the same feeling of trying to blame another or trying to blame the game, blame the character, blame a patch, blame the map, blame the knowledge, whatever. I mean, people will blame everything, honestly, but instead of themselves. But yeah, recording and then watching yourself without the context of the play or the game, I think it's one of the best things to visualize how bad you did that play or something.
So
because sometimes we just don't notice, honestly.
Right. I think sometimes we do get in our own heads and it's like, yeah, I played that perfectly. And you look back at it and you're like, well, okay, maybe I should have aimed my Blissey ult a little bit better.
It happens every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time. No matter what game you're going to watch or yourself, you're going to watch it and say, bro, I watched my games at Worlds from other years and I felt like I wanted to stop watching. And these games I would remember, I played well this game. Then I watched it and I went like, maybe we lost because of me.
Maybe I am the problem. And that's the thing. I think also, kind of adding on to that, I think a lot of people need to be okay with criticism because I feel a lot of people are not. And support players, and especially, it's like, I've always said this, supports and defenders do a lot for a team. They make the carries look good, the carry. I mean, look at something common at this point in 2025 when we're recording this. Zoroark and Comfey. It's popular because the support allows Zoroark to stay alive longer, to make it do all those cool dash, 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 get a KO, dash, 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 get a KO, and survive, So I think you brought up a really good point, though, in like VODs, right? And being able to go back. So take me a little bit, at least, behind the curtain of the 2025 season. You being on NOUNS Esports, again, support player. Again, if you're just tuning in right now, Adesu is very much more of a flex player. He fits the needs of the team. But last year, he did prioritize support because that's what NOUNS needed. So now take us behind the curtain a little bit of 2025. How often would you be doing VOD review with the team or just by yourself?
Whoa. So, I mean, I think everybody should do both for sure. But when you are looking at yourself, you will be more looking at I mean, what you could do individually. When you do a team review, it's more like a team thing. Like what we could do macro-wise, like as a decision making, what we have to do, checking the resources of the enemy, the resources we have, composition-wise, draft-wise, strategy-wise, playing with your lane partner, what you could do with him, if you do what is correct. Team board reviews are for that, not for looking, not for telling. I mean, sometimes people will comment over how other people are playing, but I don't think you want to use the time of 5 people to focus on one, right?
Right.
It's better that you focus on yourself. Maybe you could ask for help. Maybe if a teammate wants to review what you did, that's completely fine. But using full team meetings for looking at one player is not a thing I like. People do. I don't think it's bad, but I think it's, how do you say, less efficient? Time efficient?
Yeah, that'd be the word. Less efficient with your time, especially like that. But, you know, in talking about teams and maybe not correcting them, but obviously communication is going to be a huge role in support players, right? Like, how much communication did you give your teammates? I mean, again, always fitting the need, but in fitting the need, what were some of the things that you can recall that you relayed information to your team?
Okay. So as a support players, most of one of the things you probably are in charge is of the vision. And as I said before, when you are more into the mid game, late game phase of the game, you wanna know, you wanna think what the enemy can do. So because you are thinking of that, probably you are gonna be in a position where you can see if it's true, which is like more or less ahead of the map, in the middle, like a bit ahead in top side, in a bus. Like trying to figure out, where's the enemy lurking around, let's say, right? So the information you can give to your team, and now responding to your question about the information, is you want to give information that is useful, and the information that is useful is what the enemies are going to do, where they are, what are they doing, the resources they are doing, where are the timers spawning, which is the interesting part. Maybe you are aware of someone has an eject button down.
Right.
Like, since you are in the first line of the map, you could see things that they are not seeing actively. So you can communicate them. And there's supports that even there's sub-colors of their team. There's not necessary to be a sub-color on the team being a support. But it fits. Sometimes it fits because you are first-hand information of what's happening in the map, because that's one of the things you should be in charge. I don't like to use the word should that I just said.
Right.
Because it could be another person as well, but I think the role is suitable for that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, giving map awareness, huge. Telling your team, like, again, you mentioned the eject button. Oh, this Pokemon just used, so eject button is on cooldown. They don't have eject button, so that way your player knows, oh, they can go in and they're not going to avoid this, right? Yeah, and
I mean, everyone could do that, but more like knowing where the enemy goes, what they're doing is more for people that are watching them actively.
Right. Okay. And you talked a little bit about this, about the mid and late game, right? So when your team is now behind, what can you do as the support to kind of stabilize things? And if you need to use a Pokemon or an example that you can remember of, like, damn, we were behind because, again, you were playing for NOUNS Esports for the past couple years, and they were almost notably known for being the comeback team. They'd start off not the greatest, and then you guys would just explode in the latter half of a game, of a bracket. Especially, you guys were very well known to be like, we're the, losers bracket kings, because you guys would go through it, then bracket reset, and it would break my brain, because I'm like, Adesu, can you just stay in winner's side? No, we need to lose so we can win. And I'm like, I get it, because you guys won, but stop giving me a heart attack, man. I'm too young for this.
I mean, not gonna lie, from when you lose, you learn more than when you win, for sure.
Oh, damn.
However,
wise words right there. That should be on a quote. Yeah, you learn more when you lose than when you win, which is actually true.
Yeah, completely. But, yeah, I mean... So... Oh, wait, I forgot the question.
The question is, like, when your team is behind, like, let's say in a game,
okay, I remember.
What can you do as a support that you maybe did do to kind of help stabilize the game or create those comeback chances?
As a support, right?
Yes.
So, when you are losing, in mid game, for example, you will not be able to have your unite move, especially you are level 9 character, Hoopa. So your role is trying to focus on your team to get the unite moves as soon as possible. For that, what you need to protect is your jungle and the farm that the enemy could take from you and from your team. Because if you don't have access quickly to the unite moves, which is the best tool to come back in the game, you are making it harder. So since the need is like unlocking those unite moves for your team, you need to defend the jungle. To defend the jungle, since you are a support and you probably cannot beat anybody for that is entering your jungle, is trying to see them before they do it or predict them before you're doing it. If you are guarding the jungle, basically being ahead of the enemies, seeing them that they are coming, maybe you could gather as a team, defend your jungle, maybe you get a couple of knockouts and you're back in the game. It's as easy as that. And only that happened because you spot it, you identify it, you spot the enemy, and you call your team to defend the jungle as a whole.
Okay. No,
So,
I think that's beautiful, especially because you're right. The unite moves are kind of the biggest way, because next thing you know, you have a unite move that you didn't have over, and then maybe one of their, like I saw this recently, even here at the Unite Academy, there was a Palmy who was just being absolutely just bullied by a Zoroark. Zoroark was like level 14, and then they were able to get some KOs thanks to their support, and then next thing you know, bam, Palma, and they caught up in levels. So yeah, I think again, as a support player, you help enable those things to actually happen. And maybe this is now me on a personal level here. Can we just make a public service announcement? Do you believe that every support, whether it be in the supporter role or defender role, should they run EXP share? Because a lot of people would like to disagree and be like, EXP share is not even good. And I'm like, well, I think it's pretty good.
I mean, wearing 2 space here is automatically giving your team more HP, and the need of your team is being more level than the enemy team. So by picking a space here, you are helping the biggest need in the game, which is being bigger level than the enemy team. When you are bigger level than the enemy team, you will have more probabilities of success in fights and in everything you do in the game, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Why not just wear it, I guess?
So wear your EXP share, people, please. Just one time. I just trust me. It'll be good for the team. It'll be really good. But as we're wrapping up here, Adesu, what are some of the supports that you think, as a competitive player, people should learn to play? If they wanted to learn, like, let's say they go to Adesu, I'm thinking about going competitive. What are like 2 or 3 Pokemon that you're like, yeah, you should probably know this? And that doesn't necessarily mean, because we talked about this before, that it has to be the supporter role, right? But so 2 or 3 Pokemon that you would say, like, you should probably know how to do. Yeah.
Hoopa, Blissey,
Wow.
Everybody plays those. They work for 4 years, the 3 of them.
Yep.
They were picked, I think, in every season. I think there was a small season where Eldegoss wasn't that highly picked. But Blissey and Hoopa, you could see them in I think, in World Championship.
Yeah.
Every single year in the grand final, you will see one of these two, 100%. Like, no matter.
That's true. That's true. No matter how long.
I'm just calling this by memory, but I'm really sure you will see those characters that I don't mind saying it, even if I didn't check. And yeah, but I also recommend people to specialize in something. Like, okay, you learn the basic with those ones, and those could be like, how do you say this? Like,
kind of like the foundation.
The staples, the foundations. And then you could specialize yourself in, maybe I want to play an attacker with X-Fisher, like Mew, because I like the character, I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So be it. Or you really like Umbreon and you want to be like an Esper on it. Perfect. A Snorlax, because you like to invade with it and you like to be strong. I mean, why not? But as far as you know the staples, you could be...
branch out, maybe? Gotcha.
Something.
No, I think that's true, because that you're right. And I know we keep going back to this topic, but just because they're not necessarily in the supporter role doesn't mean they don't play as a support. You mentioned Mew. We saw it rise in popularity, even throwing on an EXP share to do, it can still do damage, but it supported the team. Snorlax can invade, Hoopa can invade. But I think, to reiterate, you're saying the 3 staples that you should know as a foundation are Hoopa, LD, Blissey.
Yeah, they were picked every single time. They have very clear roles. Eldegoss is aggressive range support that does a little bit of everything. Blissey is one single teammate protection that it's really good at, and it's really tanky with fine secure in early game. Hoopa is incredible with the portals, macro-wise, protecting bases, huge ultimate on team fights, have more damage so the people can be more proactive. So you kind of have everything in those three characters, right?
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I think we've covered the support role really well. So let's wrap this up with one major question. The biggest question that we have to ask, Adesu, is will we see you again in competitive play in 2026? And I am asking this because we have heard so far, when we had our first interview, they said, I'm moving out of NA. And it's like, what? Last week we had, I'm not returning to Unite. So now I don't even know. What is Adesu planning in 2026? And you can say it right here and right now. Oh,
it's looking uncertain, let's say.
Oh, uncertain to see if we'll see Adesu in 2026.
We'll see, guys. It's getting harder, like day after day, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to, but if life has other plans, I cannot go against life.
Right. Life has the final say, the final word. But at the end of the day, Adesu, thank you so much for giving us your time, your insight as support players. You know, again, to reiterate, if you missed out and you're just tuning in live, Adesu, amazing player, has been playing for NOUNS Esports for many a year, but also they have just been such a great flexible player. They've played things like Sylveon, they've played things like Blissey. They will fit the need, and at the end of the day, that's the thing that matters most, right? As a support player, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to pigeon your hole yourself into the supporter category. It's what a team needs. So Adesu, muchas gracias for being here, my brother. I love seeing you all the time, man, and thank you for your time here.
Thanks to you. Thanks to everybody. Thanks listening and for your support, for everything you did for me in these years. I feel like I'm saying goodbye, but no, I know.
No, it's not a goodbye. It's a goodbye to the show.
It's a see you. It's a see you.
It's exactly. It's not a goodbye. It's I'll see you later. But thank you everybody who tuned into the ZeroInOnUnite podcast. Again, this was the amazing Adesu. If you missed out on the live show and you're just coming in right now, you can find this show everywhere. It's now officially on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Podbean. It's gonna be everywhere. So take it wherever you go, whenever you need to go. And Adesu, where can we find you if we want to keep up with your social media?
I mean, you can find me in Adesu Unite in X, and I'm not streaming lately, but if you follow me on Twitch, I plan to stream sooner than later, honestly.
I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
Inactive for now, but I'll be back. I will be back with more didactic content. Is that a word in English? Didactic?
Yeah, I think so. It could be. Well, the point is, we're excited to see regardless of what is coming your way at this. So we love you here. I love you, man. Take care. But as we end the show every single week, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today was a gift. That's why it's called the present. And I hope you've been out there making the most of it. Until next time, trainers, adios.